What's going on, everybody? It's Joe Cordero once again.
And I'm Barone Savory, and you are joining us for another episode of Lifecast. Let's get it going.
We are here with a close friend and a partner in ministry here at Loma Linda Academy. We are with the legend, Mr. Clayton Coe, the vice principal and chaplain at the elementary campus. Clayton, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for including me on this podcast today. Happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for your time. So elementary is meeting in person right now. Getting into the mix here. You have been meeting for, when did you start meeting in person?
I think we started just the first week of school. There was a few days that we had some shorter days of kind of connecting and getting ready for the year. I think the second week of school we started on campus.
That's right. I remember now. You had like just a few days to get ready, right?
We did. It was a whirlwind for sure.
So what was that like, getting ready to, start school in person, that short span of time?
It's funny how there's memes and things that kind of describe our life right now. And one of the things is Frozen 2, that movie. It seems like every song in that movie is telling of what we're going through. And I would say it's into the unknown. Just like this feeling of not knowing what to expect on any given day, anytime. Yeah, and definitely the beginning, when we were one of the first schools that received the waiver to reopen our school. And the teachers and everyone preparing completely for remote learning for the whole summer, even up to the week before school started. And then just like immediately getting the news we're able to open up. It's just a scurry of everyone getting things together, trying to figure out how to get our safety protocol we had already discussed and planned over the summer, but how to really bring it onto campus and get it started right away. So it was a lot of work and a lot of just like fast work getting things together. I would say that it involved a lot and continues to involve a lot of flexibility and really just rolling with the punches each day, because we don't know what's going to happen. Just today, there were two parents that called the school and said that their child was exposed to somebody who tested positive for COVID outside of school. And they just got the test results yesterday. So again, that means, what do we do as a school to respond? How do we communicate to parents? What protocol do we kind of follow through to make sure that we keep our whole campus safe? And that happens any given day. So at any given day, a teacher might find out that a student tested positive or was exposed to somebody, and they need to be ready just like that to get remote learning materials ready to send home and then to go into remote learning for 14 days. So it's just a lot of flexibility and a lot of being ready at any given moment to something completely changing what you do on a daily basis.
Wow.
Man, I can only think about how stressful it is already, how tense it is. Like normal school year, it's already seems like it probably is a scurry of activity when you're just planning for regular school, but to actually enter into doing a combination. So it's a combination, right? It's not like all the students have decided to come on campus and do in-school learning. You still have students that are saying, you know what, maybe we're not quite ready to go to school yet. We're going to be at home. What's that like? Because as a leader, administrator there at the school, there's that piece. And then there's managing your teachers who have like this kind of awkward double duty going on. What's that like?
Absolutely. You nailed it. Like that's the other part of this year that makes it very challenging for all the staff on campus. It's called HyFlex blended learning. Hi, HY standing for short for hybrid, because we're having these two models of learning at the same time. Flex is because it's flexible. At any given day, a parent can switch from one way to another and back to the other way. So it's flexible learning. And then, blended learning, it's these two things together. So this HyFlex blended learning is really challenging for teachers because they have to be attentive to virtual learning as well as to on-campus learning all throughout the day. So how that works out is the Southeastern California Conference Office of Education provided each teacher in our conference with an iPad and a swivel robot. And it's a little disc that they can wedge the iPad into. And it connects to their computer, and it connects through Zoom into having this kind of live synchronous instruction for the teachers. So the teacher will wear a little marker type of thing, tracker that's connected to a lanyard, and that is tracked by the swivel robot base. So as he or she moves around the classroom, the base will swivel and rotate to follow that motion, so that the teacher has more flexibility to teach in a little bit more of a natural way, as opposed to sitting in front of a computer the entire day and trying to interact with the kids in the classroom at the same time. So he or she can walk around the classroom and continue to talk and to teach, and then that, the swivel robot will track that movement. So that has made it easier in many cases for teachers to be able to be a little more natural. Whereas initially, for the first few weeks until the swivel robots arrived, teachers were really having to stand in front of a laptop or move their laptop with them around the room as they were doing different types of instructional activities, which, as you can imagine, would be very limiting to a teacher's freedom of instruction.
Right.
But that's definitely helped. That's one technology that's helped. But there's no way of getting around how challenging this is for teachers to be able to ask questions and then listen for responses from remote learners, as well as listen for responses in class for on-campus learning, to be able to, if someone has a question, to be able to meet the need, whether it's through Zoom or through in person, and also manage the other students. So if it's somebody that she's talking to on Zoom, managing the kids that are in front of her as well at the same time. So it's a lot of multitasking. I think it's exhausting work because our brains are having to work in more ways than they're used to doing in the past. So I think teachers are definitely feeling that sense of just tiredness, just fatigue of working and being in front of a screen, being in person, and multitasking their brains to try to connect with both groups of students, because we want to provide a quality education for all of our students. It's not a matter of, we give priority to one set of students versus the other. We want all of our students to learn. And that kind of pressure to really be attentive to everyone's needs is definitely taking a lot of energy. I think the other piece that's difficult for teachers is the managing of student work and grading and lesson planning in ways that can be accessible to both of their groups of learners. When you plan a typical lesson, you can plan to just teach the kids and walk around and check for understanding and, reteach things as necessary. It's very organic and it just works naturally. When you have kids at home, there's certain things that you can't check for understanding in the same way.
Right.
You can't say, let me look at your paper. The kid can hold up their paper to the screen, but how effective is that? It's actually seeing how they're learning, right?
Right.
So the way that they have to think through their lesson plans and assessing kids informally throughout the day takes a lot extra work. And then more of the formal assessments of having assignments, worksheets, tests, or quizzes that they have to turn in. Again, that takes a little extra management as far as organizing all of that, because some teachers are on Google Classroom for the upper grades, and so it's much more streamlined as far as submitting work through Google Classroom. For the lower grades, students aren't able to manage that kind of learning system as much. So parents are by and large emailing pictures of assignments.
Oh, wow.
Scanning and emailing things. So they're having to really gather from a variety of sources as they get work turned in, and then keep track of all of that, grade it, put it into their grade books. And just the organization of it is a lot harder too, I think, for them.
Mercy.
So yeah, just a lot.
I'm holding up my cup of coffee. How does it taste? Does it taste good? Does it? I think it's good. I think is that kind of like the assignment?
I know, man.
It's like, I have a box of cookies that I just made. I have some cookies. Isn't it good? It's good. Just a little something is lost. But I just commend you guys for your hard work.
Champions.
Oh man, I'm getting a little taste of it, Pastor Joe and Clayton, because I'm teaching one Bible class and I'm like, my goodness, I'm trying to make it interesting. Like I'm, making Mr. Rogers parodies, just to have fun, I don't know. It's different types of things that you're just trying to do to keep it interesting. Joe, I think you had another question. I just wanted to throw that in there. Like how complicated
I feel you.
Like,
but it's just,
good. This is
it's like teaching two classes at the same time. Like that is super intense. And again, we champion the teachers who are really, this is another level that you're explaining for sure. That I can't even imagine the concentration it takes all day. Like it's not even a one-time thing, That's the thing that really blows my mind. It's like, this is a full day, like all day you're doing this. And trying to teach two classrooms essentially right, at the same time. And
Absolutely.
that's taxing for sure, man.
And the other thing is, in class, teachers can manage their classroom very naturally. They can walk up to a student and just say, get their attention again if the kid's distracted. But at home, it's very different. There's a whole variety of things happening in each kid's house.
Right.
So a kid may leave the screen and walk away, and the teacher's like, what happened to that kid? I don't know what happened to the kid. Did the parent call them away? Did they need to use the bathroom? No, as far as like gathering them back together, that's impossible. There's no way to be like, hey, let me hold your hand and bring you back over here. We're learning right now. It's like, no, I don't know where they went. So I think the management of
dog became more interesting,
Yeah.
Their pet
or
became more
a kid will just end up going to they'll see the phone go along into a car now, and the kid's strapped into a seatbelt and they're going somewhere. And he's like, where's the kid going? I don't know what's going on. Are they listening? They obviously don't have a pencil anymore to work with us. So that's a challenge as well. Somebody's at my door real quick.
Hey, no problem.
I was sitting back thinking like this, okay, we take instruction very seriously, but this might be the most epic time for school ever. Like you can literally be driving someplace else and still be locked in on the teacher. Well, locked in on instruction, be like, yeah, I'm listening to history class. Like I'm totally in right now. Even though I'm on my way to Target right now, I'm just going to be in class. I'm just going to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, are you really listening? Can you really participate? Like you're paying for something right now.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Man, that is wild. Have you seen like a difference of the way students interact with each other on campus, knowing that they have classmates online, or I guess it's combining the whole experience that they're in cohorts now. Maybe real quick, for those maybe who don't know how you're keeping everyone in their own groups, say someone tested positive, like how do you handle all of that? How is it that you don't have to quarantine the whole school?
Yeah, that's a great question. So cohort is the word that we use. Stable cohorts. So stable meaning that they don't change. You're always with that one cohort or group of students. So in our elementary campus, that means that students are always with their classroom teacher and the students in their classroom. They don't get a chance to interact with other students in other classrooms. And that's a little difficult to manage, but I think we've been doing it fairly well. So the teachers, from the moment that kids are dropped off on campus, instead of going to the playground and playing in the morning, they get dropped off and they go directly, after getting screened at one of our 4 entrances for COVID symptoms and getting their temperature read, they go directly to the teacher's classroom. So they sit there for however, up to 30 minutes until the school day actually begins. And from then they're in their classroom the whole day. When it's recess time, they do go out by grade level for recess, but the playground's divided into segments. So each cohort has to be on their segment during that recess. So one class may be on the big toy for the play equipment, the other class will be on the field, the other class will be on the blacktop area. And they can't go to another area during that recess time, which means that it's a real bummer for students because they can't play with kids in their grade level in another class. They can stand across the line and say, hey, how's it going? But they can't go to the other section and start playing with another kid. They just have to stay in their area. Lunchtime is the same. They do eat at the same lunch area, but our lunch tables are round tables that have 4 benches surrounding the table. So again, on each table, only kids in that cohort can sit, and there's only 1 kid per bench. So there's 4 kids at a table. They're spread out, and they're again only in that cohort. The other kids in a different cohort will be at another table. After school pickup, we used to have kids waiting at the bleachers it's kind of a common outdoor area where they wait to get picked up on. No, they just stay in their classrooms again for that last 30 minutes. And each teacher has a walkie-talkie. When the parents come up to show their placard for pickup, they call it over the walkie-talkie, and the kid leaves the classroom at that time and goes straight to the car.
Wow.
So everything is very managed within these cohorts. So that way we do feel fairly confident when there's a kid who's been exposed or someone tests positive that they haven't had a lot of mixture with people in the campus. So we can say, okay, this cohort, you're staying home, but the rest of our campus has not had exposure to that child. After school, supervision works similarly too. There's Kids U that's available after school hours. It is a little bit more mixed during Kids U because they do combine 2 grade levels in one classroom area, so 3rd grade and 4th grade. But even in that classroom, doors are open, windows are open. And each table is only for kids in one class. So one class will be on that one table. Some classes have individual desks, and so none of them are at the same table. But if they are at the same table, it's only with kids that are from their cohort. And the amount of kids is so few in Kids U nowadays compared to how it used to be. So really, it's the amount of kids that are connecting that way too. So there used to be sometimes up to 70 or 80 kids that were staying after school for supervision. Now there's at most 30 kids that are staying. So it's really small groups of kids that are, and they're spread out well in those classrooms.
And I feel like we're going to have the most disciplined generation of kids like ever. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be like, I grew up in COVID. Like, you know, I couldn't go to it wasn't Big Toy Day. You know, the worst thing that was happening, like I can't stand Wednesdays. It's not Big Toy Day. You know, it's Blacktop Day, you know, but I learned how to deal with it. This is going to be like, this next generation is going to have just some crazy, amazing things that come out. Yeah, they're going to really realize like, man, I could not eat with my friend, you know, Marcus over there at the table that I wanted to, but you know what? We still maintain a friendship, even while waving through masks and face shields. And oh man, there's so much, man. I just commend you guys for your hard work and for what you guys are doing, man. That's reassuring, I'm sure, to parents, even though it's, you know, hasn't been perfect, but it seems like each and every time there has been, or if there, you know, is a case that you guys know how to handle it and it's handled pretty quickly and efficiently.
And, you know, the positive thing about that is that there have been 0 cases to our knowledge that have spread on our campus. So every case that we've been informed about has been from an outside exposure. So like maybe a child will be exposed to a relative or a grandparent or even a parent that's in the household that was later diagnosed positive. And immediately when we find out, that student, of course, is quarantined for 14 days. If they are not positive personally or they don't have symptoms, then the rest of the class will still stay on campus. But if they are diagnosed positive, then the whole class will be quarantined at that point. But no parent has ever reported saying, oh, that one kid that was exposed, because of that, my kid now is tested positive as well as started having symptoms. So it seems like the measures that we're taking are really helping to prevent the spread of COVID on campus, because we haven't seen any of that spread on campus thus far. So fingers crossed, hopefully we keep that going. We're very nervous about the holidays, to be honest.
Right.
The holidays are a time where everyone is, you know, we're encouraging everyone to be smart about the way that they connect with family members and friends during the holidays, and try to limit that, keep it to small groups, be outdoors, those types of things, or if possible, not even meet together like you normally would. But we understand there are going to be people who meet with people, and that's where the danger is, because we don't have any control of that. We can control what happens on campus, but we really have no control of what happens outside of school. So going to Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, the big questions on our mind is what's going to happen when kids come back. Like how many people will have been exposed at that point. And so we'll have to really monitor closely from our end as much as we can do to monitor, you know, symptoms and try to be quick to quarantine if necessary, so that we don't have a widespread kind of sharing of the virus on campus.
Yeah, so definitely that's a request coming from the school. If we can do our best or do our part during this holiday season. Is there other things that maybe, Clayton, you would like parents to know how they can better support you and the team, the teachers, the staff? Like, what are some other ways that maybe parents can be a part of that support system?
You know, I have to say parents have been amazing. Parents have been so understanding of the crazy times that we're living in. I mean, most of what we hear from parents is just appreciation for everything the staff is doing. And I mean, what we try to do is shower our teachers with appreciation too, because they're doing so much, so to meet those needs of all of the students that they have in their care. And I've seen by and large, that's what parents are already doing for our staff here. And we really appreciate that. Parents continue to send nice notes to your child's teacher and say thank you for all that you're doing, because they're just going above and beyond to provide for all of our students. And we appreciate our parents. We appreciate them doing their best. I mean, of course, there's sometimes that things are going to happen. Kids are going to be exposed, and it doesn't mean that parents are being negligent. It just means that that's what happens when we have a pandemic on our hands.
Right.
And there are going to be people that are going to get sick. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, really. It is so, as you know, the rates are rising in our community, and that's going to impact and touch all of us. But we appreciate parents being cautious. We appreciate them using good judgment as far as gathering together. That will definitely help to keep our school open and not having any more spread, as much spread on campus, and hopefully keep us open longer if we do have to shut down at some point. But we're just going to keep watching and praying and doing our best to keep things contained on campus.
Yeah, definitely. Clayton, really appreciate you and the ministry that you continue to do. I know that we can't meet in Chan Auditorium like usual. So the production that you put on in chapel, the videos that you do, and the studies and meets that you do with the kids, I just want to say we praise the Lord for your ministry and the service that you provide for the kids as well during this time. And we want to be praying for you. Definitely, we're praying for the staff, and we'll definitely be high hopes for when we come back after break to have the best results for everyone there. Baron, any closing thoughts, man?
Yeah, the next time you make some amazing rolls like you did, and share a recipe, make sure that you come and you quarantine and safe and all that type of stuff, and make sure you share some with me, because those looked amazing online, man.
Well, maybe I'll just show it to you this stream, like, hey bro, here you go. My rolls, they're good.
Touche. Thanks, Clayton. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for all that you and the staff over there at the elementary are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton. And then thank you everyone for joining us. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.